You're listening to KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine.
The opinions and views expressed in this program do not reflect those of KUCI, its management, or the UC Board of Regents. To find out more about this talk show or other talk shows broadcasting on KUCI, log on to our website at kuci.org or check out the latest program guide.
This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Belfry Stage for the Forces of Nature presentation of Gray People. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm at KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Carrie Kazmarovich Trim. I wrote Gray People.
So, question: why did you decide to write this piece anyway?
It actually came out in about 3 days. I just had initially an image of 3 people on a mound of dirt, and it sort of developed from there. The initial draft just came out really quickly, and then from there, when I went back to rewrite it, I looked at, what was I actually trying to explore by writing it, and that's when I figured out that it was sort of this notion of, what responsibility you have to take for things you did that you're not even aware that you were a part of, and just what responsibility you have to other people if they were hurt and you're profiting off of that, even if you weren't the ones that injured them, what the consequences are for that sort of thing. That to me was interesting to explore, to some of, for me, what I see going on in society and that sort of thing, how, if I'm not the one who hurt them, then it's not my fault if I'm making money off of it. And so that's thematically where I went back and explored it more after doing that initial draft.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I was a little confused by it, but that's not, I don't mean that in a bad way. I was thinking about, childhoods, abusive childhoods. I was thinking about, what would drive a person to commit murder? What would drive a person to commit suicide? Very intense emotions like that. So again, it was a little bit beyond me, and I like theater like that. I like theater that pushes my envelope a lot. So I did appreciate that about the pieces.
Cool. Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, I tend to be most interested in people who live at the extremes of things and trying to, explore to some degree why they do the things they do or what brought them to that point, and just the sorts of people that would exist on the extreme sides of society. And some audiences really love it. Some people find it fascinating. They are kind of like, I haven't been through that, so I can't necessarily empathize with it, but it's fascinating to see someone like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because again, there's a death scene in there, and I'm always fascinated by death scenes, because when a writer writes a death, it's for a purpose. It's not like some guy asked for too much money, so we're going to write him off the script. Right. There's a real purpose behind someone dying, and no one's ever died before. So again, the way they handle it is always intriguing, because how does an actor handle something that he's never done before?
Yeah.
So again, I always enjoyed something like that.
Good. Yeah. No, that's. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. For me, what was interesting. Not to give too much away, you can decide whether to use this or not, but for me, what was interesting with the deaths in this is there's one character who's sort of okay with the notion of death at this point. Like, they've, in a way, already, they say, that they're already dead, their body doesn't know it yet, and then there's another character who dies who's fighting very, very hard to stay alive. And so, having, again, those two extremes, someone who's just ready to go, and then someone who is fighting really hard to still accomplish this thing that they've dedicated so much of their life to, having those two be the sorts of deaths that happened, that's what made those interesting to me.
I'm a really big fan of Breaking Bad. I think it's one of my favorite pieces I've seen in the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
This reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad.
Okay, I'll take that. I love that show as well. That and Better Call Saul are two of my favorite shows on TV. I love the first 4 seasons of Dexter. Did you ever see that show? Yeah. Again, those sorts of characters, like, what leads them to this place where they're able to do such awful things. And again, being able to follow that journey, even if you don't agree with it, is what excites me as a writer.
Well, I really enjoyed the piece tonight. I was really intrigued by it. Somewhat confused, but I like that. I like things that don't just explain things to me, things that press me, things that make me think. So I really did enjoy that.
Good. Thank you. And a lot of the critics have been saying, and I've been saying this to people, it really holds up for a second viewing. Like, it's a good one to come back to, because by the end, when you know what all the twists are, going back and rewatching and seeing why characters say certain things in certain ways to trigger other people, it makes a very different kind of sense when you go back and rewatch it.
Well, really enjoyed the piece. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Sebastian Munoz. Well, I'm the artistic director of Force of Nature, and I'm also the director of Great People.
So, question. Why did you decide to do this piece?
Wow. I'm a big fan of Carrie's work, and we worked together last year at Unbound Productions' Wicked Lit. I'm just really a big fan of his work, and I told him I really want to collaborate with him. We became very good friends, and he sent me over a couple of his works, but he really said, you know what, this is a piece that I really would love to see it again. And he sent over Great People, and I read it on a plane ride, actually, across the country, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I just love the complexity, the characters, the dialogue, and I just really was ready to sink myself into something that was very challenging and very character driven. And I said, you know what, we got to do this, and we got to do this year.
This actually reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad. So Breaking Bad is my favorite piece that I've seen in the last 10 years. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I've only seen one episode, so don't hate me, please. But I really enjoy the work in that, and I love the raw, the gritty. Like, my style of directing is very raw, very gritty, but the human elements very much at the core of it all. So that's my style. So I'm glad that you enjoyed that. So I guess hopefully you become a fan.
Well, I thought this piece was, again, it confused me at times, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because great theater should do that. I mean, should expose ideas that you've never seen before, should challenge you, and it should bring you in a world that you're just not used to. So this brought me into a world sometimes psychotic, sometimes murder, sometimes suicide, sometimes even child abuse, sometimes poverty, you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I really wanted to approach the play from there's three people really playing poker, and they have these hands, and do they have a show? Do they have a tell? And they keep the cards very close to their vest. But when the emotions and the feelings start coming in, and sometimes you can tip your hand a little bit. But so even early on, there's little hints, little Easter eggs as well to that. As the story unfolds, then you start connecting those dots. And one of the biggest compliments we've gotten from an advanced preview that we did was that people said, you know what, I got to come back and see it again because it has all these different elements that I think I missed early on. And I've had people that came back today and said, yes, they were all there. So they really enjoyed that, the connectivity and the puzzle element of the show.
What do you look for in your casting anyway?
Wow. If they can hang with me, I'm a very a pretty nutty director. I like to just work really fast and on my feet, and sometimes we can change direction. So when I look for in casting, when I audition them, I always give them redirects, and sometimes they're pretty crazy and outlandish, and I just really mainly do it to see if they're willing to hang and commit to that, and just commit to whatever the idea is. It could be good or bad. I don't care. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to see if they're willing to hang and change with a constant ever evolution of directing a piece. And this cast was just fantastic. We saw a lot of great people, but these people just really rose to the top, and they were just the cream of the crop. Those are our first choices, and I could not be happier with the cast that I got. I got very fortunate. They're fantastic.
Well, I really enjoyed the performance tonight. I enjoy your direction also. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so very much, Ashton. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Walter Cartman. I'm from Milwaukee originally. Was in Chicago for about 6 years. Moved out here about a year and a half ago. These are some of the first people at Force of Nature that I started doing work with in LA. They picked me up really quick, and I've been basically doing stuff with them nonstop, and I couldn't be happier.
And which character did you play tonight?
I play James. James is basically like a golden retriever puppy turned into a person. Just very lovable, not the brightest in the world, but basically an open book, which makes him really hard to read for the other two characters.
You remind me a little bit of a Matthew Broderick type person.
I'll take that any day. I mean, I love Ferris Bueller as much as the next guy. And, I mean, he does have sort of that puppy dog, like, naivete that he had, especially earlier on in his career. So, yeah, I'll go for that.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see something that is darkly funny, something that's exciting, unexpected, and something that actually it's entertainment that'll make you think. Like, you'll have fun while you're seeing it, but it'll stick with you, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I was somewhat confused by it, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because a really, really great thing that I really love makes me think it's different, and that's what this piece was. It confused me, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I first read this play, they invited me to just do a stage reading of it, and, like, I was, like, obsessed with it, like, as soon as I was done reading it, because I did it cold, and I was like, Carrie was there, I followed him around, like, with a million questions. I was obsessed with it. And when I finally, like, heard that they were doing it for this run for Force of Nature, I begged Sebastian to let me audition for it. I was so excited. So to be part of it now is just like, I couldn't be happier.
I feel that it uncovered things about the psyche of, say, murderers, of, say, suicide victims, of, say, even people with troubled childhoods, of revenge, things like that. Very, very complex types of relationships in which you just if you're into that thing, it was just quite well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it does deal with a lot of heavy stuff. But what I like about it is it does deal with sort of those things specifically, but on a more universal level, it deals more with, like, what we try to hide from each other. I mean, like, it's going to be in less extreme situations than the play, but I think we all put up a facade to a certain extent in the real world, and why we do that, and what happens when that comes down, and who we are versus who we want to be. Like, it's just stuff that is really fascinating to me personally, and I think most people it'll resonate with as well.
Well, I really enjoyed the performance. I enjoyed your performance also. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Glad you liked it.
Hi, my name is Ashley Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Hi, howdy. I am Olivia Lemon. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I've been in LA for 3 years after graduating college. This is actually the first piece of theater I've done since I've been in LA.
And which character did you play?
I played Jenny. It's such an extreme character that I think we've had some of the people that have been seeing it have been like, how have you found like a way in? Like, how do you relate to her? But I think that it's like she's kind of like a what if of a lot of people that I know. She's really intent on morality.
This reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad.
Did it really? I can see that.
Yeah, Breaking Bad is one of my favorite pieces that I've ever seen because, again, it deals with anti-heroes, deals with intense topics in which you just kind of connect the dots how a normal person becomes like a murderer or a psychopath, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I also think it deals with a lot of people who think that they know how something is going to turn out, who then get very surprised.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
I think that they should expect to see something that is deeply relatable, but also has a lot of the elements of like the classic like cathartic theater. You see people that you relate to, and then you see that things happen to them and are filled with like pity and fear, and you don't know what's going to happen. And I think it's an emotional wild ride.
At times I was somewhat confused by it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Basically, great theater should actually stretch you, basically. So again, I basically thought of things like, suicide. I thought of things like murder. I thought of things like, some people who are just so poor they would do anything. It just brought me to different places. I really enjoyed the performance tonight, and I really enjoyed your performance also.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Ashley Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
I'm Kyle Feltz. It's been an amazing experience doing great people here at Belfry Stage, working with Carrie, our writer, and Sebastian, our director. Fantastic cast and crew, and I encourage anybody to come out and see this. It's a great show. Talked about it.
And which character do you play?
I'm playing Adam in this. He's not exactly a people person. He's definitely a guarded individual. Really likes to stick to the rules. He's not a big fan of all the talking that's going on between these other characters. He's trying to keep everything very much in line.
great. I like the play. I did like the play. It was a little hard for me to understand, though, because some of the themes underlying it, like, say, autistic characters, I guess the troubled childhood, the desire to actually, the suicidal desires, you know what I mean?
Yeah, as far as the autism goes, I assume you're referring to James. That was never actually something that was discussed as part of the character, but it is interesting you mentioned that because that came up last week about him possibly being on the spectrum. I know that Walter has his own take on that. And what was the other thing?
The suicidal tendencies, abusive relationships.
Oh, okay. Not sure about the suicidal tendencies, but definitely there is a strong theme of the violent childhood that has kind of conditioned him to be the way he is now and affects him very much and leaves him kind of looking for that parental figure that I think Z provides for him, as well as maybe Adam as sort of an older brother, possibly father type figure that obviously he did not receive when he was growing up.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
What should they expect to see? They should expect overall to see a great show, a great set. There is a lot of mystery, there is a lot of tension building up in this play, not knowing who these people are, what they're up to, where everybody's coming from, and I think they can expect to see a really good payoff on the answers to those questions.
Well, I'm a big fan of Breaking Bad, so this kind of reminded me a little bit of that.
I could see that. I will admit that I've only gotten to see a little bit of Breaking Bad. I've got to binge watch that one. But yes, there are some very similar tones, I think, between the characters there and the characters in this show.
Once again, I really enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the performance also. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for coming out, and we really appreciate it.
Gray People will be playing at the Belfry Stage from November 2nd to November 17th. For more information, go to www.fonproductions.com. This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the David Henry Hwang Theater for the East-West Players presentation of Via Gone. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Hey, my name's Paul Yen. I play Quang in Viet Gone at East West Players. It's such a privilege to be a part of this production here. As a Vietnamese American, it's an honor to be a part of this.
Yeah, what's your take on Quang anyway?
On Quang, he's a hard-headed, fierce man who is fighting for his country, fighting to be with his family, and fighting for his own sanity.
Yeah. You know, when I think of your character, obviously these stereotypes pop into my mind. He's going to be a macho guy. He's going to be tough. He's going to be attractive. He's going to be very romantic. And, he's going to be sensitive and all that. And goofy at times. Your character did fall into those things, but I really liked it. It was done differently. It wasn't like, maybe it was an Asian flavor. I'm not sure what the flavor is. What are your thoughts on that?
I appreciate that very much. I think it's a Vietnamese flavor. There's a Vietnamese blood in us, and not that there's ever anything wrong with anybody else playing us, but I think our director Jen Chang was saying that we bring something slightly different that just you can't put your finger on, and I think that's what it is.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
A rom-com, epic drama / buddy film that has a touch of hip-hop.
Yeah, I'm surprised that this piece is kind of a mixture of collage. Mm-hmm. Some of it's romantic, some of it is basically a war story. Mm-hmm. Some is father trying to find his family and all that.
Right.
But I don't know, it's all blended together so well, and I don't think I've seen things like this, where it's a drama and a comedy. You know what I mean?
Right, I think that's a testament to Quy Nguyen's writing. He was able to write something so epic, but so funny and so charming, and I'm sure he did years and years of research to do this, probably interviewed his father, his mother, and that just shows that he knows what he's doing, and it's such an honor to be able to just speak these words and represent Vietnamese people, and I hope Quý's happy with it.
You know, when I saw Crazy Rich Asians, I had certain expectations. It would be romantic, it would be elaborate, beautiful, it'd be a comedy, it'd have a very strong Asian taste to it. Mm-hmm. But when I saw it, it was just a little different. It wasn't too Asian, it was just wonderfully done, beautiful masterpiece. This is the same thing. I see it wonderfully done, but I just can't put my finger on it. Why is it better than anything else? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I think, first of all, much love to Crazy Rich Asians. I saw it 3 times. I think with Crazy Rich Asians and Viet Gone, I think the missing element that you see is that you see Asian men, first of all, as sex symbols, as goofballs, as nerds, as funny people. But at the same time, you see intricate stories of these people that you never see, because oftentimes you only see us as side characters. But then you realize that our story is as American as apple pie. You know, it's no different from the Irish that came here. It's no different from the Germans who, whatever, the British who escaped persecution or whatever. You know what I mean? It's when you watch this, you don't realize that it's not just an Asian story; it's an American story, and I think that's what is awakening people. They're going, oh my gosh, Asians aren't just side characters. They have lives. They have a storied history, and I think that's what people are feeling, and they're not sure what to put their finger on because they've never seen it before.
Well, I loved your performance. I thought it was fantastic. I love the performance as a whole. I thought you guys were fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Hi, with Scott Lee. We just had our opening night over here at East West Players for Viet Gone. And it was awesome. The whole crowd here is amazing, and the whole cast was just ecstatic about what's going on and the reaction that we got. So we're very excited. We're very, very happy.
Great. And which character did you play?
I play Nan and assorted of other characters.
What's your take on Nan?
He is the best friend. He is playful. He enjoys the moment. He lives in the moment, and he's always having fun, and he has a good heart.
Actually, I thought your character was a bit of the comic relief, you know.
Yes, that too. Yeah, he's always having fun.
Yeah.
He's always having fun.
The jokester, the practice, you know, lighten up the mood. But at the very end, I think your character came up with a very, very profound meaning to the play.
Yeah, I believe so.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
Expect the unexpected, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you're gonna see one thing, and then we're gonna switch it up. A lot of unexpected things happening, and just solid acting, solid performances, fun. It's funny. It's a romance story. It's a buddy story. It's an action story. You're gonna find music, rap in it as well too. So there's a lot of stuff for people to be entertained with, and it opens a vast spectrum of different types of audience, different types of people.
When I first saw Crazy Rich Asians, obviously I expected it to be a certain thing, and it was that thing. But I was surprised at how good it was. And this thing too, I expected certain things. You know, it'd be about Vietnam, it'd be about poverty, and it'd be about post-war syndrome. I got all that stuff, but I got it in a different light. It was very positive. It was more like coming to America, almost like an immigrant story.
Yeah, so that's what we were trying to do. Our director Jennifer Chang, she wanted to change it up a little bit and make it more. It's not just a comedy. It's a true story. It's an American story with actual people. That's history that happened. My parents came from Vietnam during the war. They were on the boat. My siblings came during the boat on the boat. So they're shedding a positive, strong light on immigrants and the courage and the perseverance that they had to do what they did, to come over here, to come to a place that was foreign to them without almost nothing in their pockets, and built and mainly for their kids, and to pass on this generation. And that's how I feel. I'm here right now because of my parents who had the courage to step on the boat, leave their home, everything they had there, get it, and come here to America. And so I think the story has to have a bright light to it, hope. And I think that's what it's about when any kind of immigrants. It's about hope. The thing that you have most deep inside is that hope for you, for your family, for your friends. And so I think that's I think we were trying to sprinkle every scene with touches of that as well.
Well, I love the performance. I love your performance too. You're very funny, you're very light, but also serious at times and very touching too.
Yeah. I think that's me trying to open myself up and be as open as possible for the performance and for the audience. Again, I'm gonna give props to my director Jennifer Chang again, because she has taken me, pushed me to the left, pushed me to the right, opened me up, showed me what I was capable of doing but never did it. I felt it, I never did it until I met her and she started opening me up. So it's such a learning process. And this being my first play, I'm really happy with the cast members, the crew, everyone's been amazing. So
once again, I love your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
All right, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
I'm Jean Louie, and I just finished opening night as Hong, the mom of the main lead character of this show by Queen Nguyen.
Great. What's your take on that character?
Oh boy, she is fierce. She's tough. She's in some ways hardened. She's a survivor, a fighter, and she's holding in a lot of love that she doesn't quite know how to show. That gets peeled off by layers as the show goes on.
I love those characters. Basically, all the characters in general, they seem, well, when you go into a show like this, you have certain expectations, right?
Yeah.
Basically, certain stereotypes. I saw the stereotypes, but in a sense, they're also different. They were somewhat flawed, but they're also very human, too.
Yes, and that's one of my biggest description words of this show is it's very human, because it's not from any one cultural perspective. It fills in the gap of all the gray areas about the Vietnam War, about refugees and who we are, the reasons why we might want to go back or stay, and how to learn to love a new place. It's an incredible piece, and it harps to modern culture in hip-hop, in video games, and it's just a mind-bending ride by this guy behind me that I'm a total fangirling over right now.
Yeah, that's something I noticed about this play. In a sense, you didn't have to be Asian. You didn't have to be Chinese or Vietnamese to understand this play. Like, sometimes you'll see some things like, I remember the old Dim Sum movie. You had to, just to understand some of the language, to understand some of the jokes, you had to be Asian.
Yeah.
Here, I don't think you have to be Asian to understand anything.
I think there are definitely some inside bits about it, but it's very, like we were talking about, human. And so it's every family can relate to this because it's cross-generational. It's about your mom, your dad, how to talk to them, how unable we are to talk to them. And it's just beautiful.
Also, I can't put my finger on what piece is it. Is it a war story? Is it a comedy? Is it a musical? Is it a romance? I mean,
yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Good luck. Like it's everything and all wrapped in one. And that's why it's kind of such an incredible piece that every production company wants to do right now around the nation, because it's a story that is told and it brings in young folks to understand themselves, to see themselves up on stage as well.
Yeah, well, again, I agree. It is a collage, but basically, it was done so incredibly well. It's almost like it belonged together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Something strange about the Vietnamese experience, about the war, about patriotism, about mother-daughter relationships, about father-son relationships. It was just all in there, and I thought that was incredibly well done.
And what's on top of all of those things is that it's all told, filtered through the lens of Quy, who has done this interview with his father, and so in a way this is his commentary. It's not just the reality of the stories, right? It's a layer of his discussion about the stories. And so as actors, we've had a hell of a time and so much fun, like making it our own, because we can. Yeah.
I remember when I first saw Crazy Rich Asians, I had certain stereotypes about it. It's going to be a romance, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be about rich people, about crazy people, and also very comical. I had the same expectations about this one. It would be about Vietnam. You'd see some of the war, you'd see some tragedies, you'd see some romance. But again, like Crazy Rich Asians, I was surprised at how well I liked it, and I don't know why. Maybe it was just really well done. Maybe there's just something about an Asian flavor I've never tasted before. The same thing about this. Was it just really well done, or is there some kind of flavor in there no one's ever tasted before?
I feel like anytime you have authenticity in deconstructing characters as humans, you just connect. There's no stereotype or jokes about these people at all. They're funny people, but they are real. And they're deeply strong, and they're not just victims. They're not looked at as like just refugees. These are fighters, every single one of them. And it's just incredible chance that I have been given to do this show.
Well, I loved your performance. I love the performance as a whole. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Virgan will be playing at the David Henry Hwang Theater from October 18th to November 18th. For more information, go to www.eastwestplayers.org.